Right, hello again, guys. This is the second part of the Frank Zappa drawing that I'm doing. It's actually free giveaway that I'm doing on my Facebook page for one person. And this is the second little portion. So as of right now, I am still dealing with a HB pencil. So nothing crazy. We've not stepped into like a 2H pencil or anything like that. That will get a little darker. I'm still trying to just lay down the groundwork basically. So, and then like I said before, I have to step away from it and look at it, because sometimes I'll come back another day and see something that needs readjusting, or if I did something wrong, I'll go ahead and do that. So it's always a good idea to take a little time off from your drawing, because sometimes you just sit there and you're just staring at it, and then your brain just kind of gets confused and lost, and nothing good comes out of that. And then basically you always have to make sure, first off, that you enjoy the drawing process. I think that's first and foremost. It's not easy for me personally. Drawing is not easy, especially because I put a lot of pressure on myself to make it look a certain way, and if it doesn't look that way, you get frustrated or disappointed, and sometimes you want to just give up and walk away or throw the paper. I've done all of those, or a combination of those in the past, but I think for a long time now I just kind of struggle through it and work through it. Some parts of it are harder than others. Some drawings are harder than other drawings. Hair is definitely hard for me personally. Maybe it's because I lack some patience. That could be part of the reason. Because hair is definitely, it's very detailed, and there's a lot to hair, so it takes a lot of patience. So some hairs will be, let's say, a real defining part of a drawing. In that case, you do have to go ahead and take your time with doing the hair. And then other times, some parts of some different drawings, like a hair, will not be an important piece of the drawing. So in those times, you can do less detail and focus on whatever other part is the main focus, basically. Yeah, so here still working out little details, basically. And I'm not trying to rush myself. And one thing I don't do, I haven't done it in a while, is basically use an eraser. I try not to use an eraser as much as possible. Sometimes I do use an eraser just to make highlights and way later part of the drawing, because this drawing is still basically at 10-15% completion right now. Excuse me. So I try not to use an eraser at this point, because when you use an eraser on this paper, it kind of basically just the paper itself, like physically kind of changes. It gets a little like filed down or worn out. So by the time you come and try to draw on top of the place you just erased, the texture is different. So I try not to race too much, and I just take my time, just look at it, and just make sure when I put something down, it kind of, matters. Like, it's not just frantically putting something down, but you want to make sure that when you put something down, it's actually, what needs to go down. And a lot of that at this point just comes from years of drawing and experience. So yeah, right now I'm just putting some light things down, like around his cheeks and around some of the corners. It's just basically trying to tell my brain. It's just trying to communicate with your brain mainly, as I feel like some of the process. You're just trying to let your brain know what needs to go where for the later processes. Yeah, and like I said in the past, at this point I'm not. It's all just basically skeleton work, so I'm not worried about the scale of, white to black. That's gonna come later, because even the background will have some kind of gray, and then the hair will be the darkest part of the drawing, so that will have pencils go up to the range of, like, I do have like a 9B pencil, which is extremely dark, so I'm gonna be using that for the hair later. Then of course his mustache would be dark also, and then his face would be kind of at the mid-range, and his teeth will be in the lighter, whiter side of things. Yeah, also just work it on his neck a little bit, because there's always a shadow in a person's neck, of course, just from coming from their head, and kind of depending on where the light source is coming from. In this particular picture, I think that it's not natural light. It's not like the sun. I think he's picture of the man was taken in some kind of studio setting, so it's kind of one hard light, probably coming from a camera. Yeah, drawing is not it's not an easy process. You need a lot of patience for it. So like I said, you need to make sure you enjoy what you're doing. Otherwise, it could be very frustrating. Personally, the beginning stages of certain drawings are extremely frustrating for me as well. People think when you're an artist that you're like always in a state of bliss, basically. But I'm not sure about other people, but for me, excuse me, for me it's there are certain stages of the drawing that are, depending on what drawing it is, that are completely frustrating and basically not fun. It's something you have to struggle through. So I almost feel like in this drawing I was doing a little bit of that. So right now I'm just trying to just work through it and not, trying to tell myself don't get too wrapped up in all the work that's ahead of you, because there's still a lot of work involved in this drawing ahead. Yeah, so it's the type of drawing I do is just a lot of a lot of detail. A lot of detail, a lot of little light strokes. Then just keeping in mind of what direction I want to go. Sometimes you want to get overzealous and work more on a certain part than others, but you have to keep in mind the bigger picture. Basically, it's like a big symphony or piece of music. You can't have everything has its place. You can't have one little part that's not, say, the main focus or whatever, just screaming out for attention more than other parts. So you have to make sure you balance things to the point where it makes sense. And then later as I go, some parts will, if you stay tuned, then you'll see some parts I will blend certain parts more than others, depending on what's needed. Like, for example, the face will need to get a little blended in, as opposed to let's say the mustache. The mustache is naturally, it's got strokes of hair, so that would need, if you want to make it sort of realistic, you don't have to, but you might have to do kind of certain strokes or blend it less, just so that you can differentiate what's smooth for the viewer versus what's rough. And then the background will definitely be extremely blended, because that's just the background, versus, let's say, the hair will be less blended at the background. The neck will be, the face and the neck will be blended. So stay tuned for that. And I did try to kind of speed some part of this video, because some of it gets a little redundant. Like, let's say when I'm using when I'm working on, like the hair, for example, it's just kind of filling in a huge block of black or something like that. And a huge part of this, if you stay tuned in for some of my other videos, you will see it's just working in layers and layers and layers and layers. So it's like you start on a layer. What I mean by that is, let's say you start on a pencil that is on a lighter pencil, then you make sure you complete the whole drawing with that. And then by the time you go to the next darker shade, and then you have to make sure you complete all that layer using that pencil as well. So sometimes it's like you're doing the whole drawing over and over for up to 10 times. Yeah. Still working on that shadow underneath his neck. You can see as I press it more and as it gets kind of darker, it makes it feel like he's becoming a little more 3D. It makes like his face kind of pop out, because it kind of pushes or it gives an illusion of his neck is being pushed backwards. Yeah, I hope this video is a little more informative. Just kind of trying to let you into my my process of drawing, and just my thinking behind what I do basically. Yeah, so my personal philosophy is just I try to work on my art pieces whenever I am in the mood to do it. I try not to force myself to get up and draw. A lot of professional artists or art students or other people, I think, kind of do that, or I guess they have to do that, where you have to, you know, wake up and be like, okay, I have to draw an hour a day no matter what, or something like that. To me, I feel like whenever I do that, it's not coming from the heart. Sometimes I feel like I end up just really bombing, just drawing pictures that have no, life in them, basically. So what I try to do is whenever I do feel like I want to draw, then I get up and draw, because at that point it's coming from the heart. I'm enjoying it. It's almost like something I have to do. Something is urging me to do it. And whether I'm, frustrated or not, I'm still really into it, basically. So that's something that I've developed over the years. Is just I try to draw something whenever I feel like it. Sometimes I'll freak out because I'll start a piece and I just don't feel like coming back to it for, let's say a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So I end up freaking out and being like, whoa, do I want to even draw anymore? Am I even an artist anymore? All these questions. Then eventually I think your brain just kind of takes a break and probably thinks about a lot of things on a subconscious level and just says, okay, I'm ready to come back and, face this battle and attack it again, basically. So yeah, that's what I do. I try to do other things to take my mind off of it, whether it's play games on my phone or, go to the gym or, watch TV or read a book or whatever else. I feel like if you end up doing other things and just forgetting about it, I feel like your desire to draw will probably come back quicker than, you sitting there and be like, oh, why am I not in the mood? I need to be drawing something, like how they say an artist or a writer's block, basically having an artist block, yeah, just I guess it's just all I'm saying is just try not to force it and just maybe go look at other artists, work that you admire, so that you get a little inspired in the meantime, if you do get a little stuck in a certain drawing that you're doing. So this concludes today's session over here. This is the final stage of this this layer that's been drawn using a lighter HB pencil. Hope you enjoy it and hopefully you got something out of it. Come back for more videos. I am Beri. Thank you for watching, and you can also find me on Beri Art on Facebook, BeriArt.com. Thank you.